Ladies and gentlemen, let me get right to it. If you want to change your life, you've got to change the conversation you're having with yourself. And guess what? That conversation starts the second you wake up. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Mel, I'm not a morning person. Well, too bad. You don't have to love mornings, but you do need to own them because the way you speak to yourself when the day begins determines how you show up, how you feel, and what you'll accomplish. So today I'm going to give you 10 powerful things, not fluffy quotes, not Pinterest motivation, but 10 real, practical, empowering truths you must tell yourself every single morning. Say them out loud. Say them in the mirror. Say them while brushing your teeth or walking the dog. I don't care how I care that you do, because repetition is how you rewire your brain. And rewiring your brain, that's how you change your life. Ready? Let's do this. 1. I am in control of how today goes. Not your boss, not your partner, not the weather. Your reaction is your responsibility. You can choose patience. You can choose power. You can choose to lead your day instead of letting it lead you. 2, I've survived 100% of my worst days. That's right. Every single thing you thought you couldn't handle, you did. You're still here, still standing, still fighting. You're way stronger than you give yourself credit for. 3, I don't need to have it all figured out to move forward. Stop waiting for the plan to be perfect. Life rewards action, not overthinking. You don't need certainty. You need courage. Just take the next right step. 4, I am worthy of love, respect, and success. Say it again, out loud. You are not here to shrink or apologize for who you are. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to win. You're allowed to be confident. 5, I am not my mistakes. We've all screwed up, but your past does not define your future. Your choices do. So forgive yourself, learn, and then get up and move forward like the warrior you are. 6, I get better every single progress over perfection. You might not be where you want to be yet, but every decision you make to try again, to push forward, to not quit, that's growth. Celebrate it. 7, I choose to focus on what I can control. Energy is precious. Stop wasting it on things outside your control. Let go of drama. Let go of other people's opinions. Stay in your lane. 8, I have everything I need inside me to succeed. You don't need to wait to be chosen. You are the one. Start acting like it. Back yourself. Show up with grit. The tools are already in you. You just have to use them. 9, I'm grateful for this day and I won't waste it. You didn't wake up to be average. You didn't wake up just to exist. You woke up to live. So do something today that your future self will thank you for. 10, let's go. That's it. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait until you feel ready. Count it down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and launch yourself into action. Because action builds confidence. Momentum creates change. And you are capable of extraordinary things. Let me be honest with you. You can scroll inspirational quotes all day long, but nothing will change until you change the way you speak to yourself. This right here, this is the difference between staying stuck and breaking through. You want to shift your mindset? Start here. You want more energy, more focus, more success? Start here. You want to stop doubting yourself and start believing again? Start right here. 10 truths every morning. No excuses. This is how you program your mind for greatness. This is how you take back your power. So tomorrow morning, before the phone, before the email, before the world tries to pull you in 1,000 directions, look yourself in the mirror and say these words. Because the most powerful voice you will ever hear is your own. The moment your alarm goes off in the morning, you are given a choice. Most people don't realize this, but it's a powerful moment. It's the first decision you make, and it sets the tone for every single thing that follows. When you hit snooze, you're not just delaying the day, you're delaying your power. You're sending a message to your brain that you're not ready to face what's ahead, that you don't have control. But when you take charge, when you throw those covers off and get up, you're telling yourself, I'm in control. This day belongs to me. So many of us live in reaction mode. We wait to see what the day brings. We check our phones, scroll through other people's lives, and immediately get pulled into everyone else's chaos before we've even had the chance to breathe. The key to flipping that is understanding that your mindset in the morning is your steering wheel. If you don't take hold of it, the rest of the world will grab it for you and drive your day in directions you never intended to go. Now listen, I'm not saying you need to wake up at 4 a.m., run 5 miles, and meditate for an hour. That's not realistic for most people. But what is realistic and life-changing is taking 10 intentional minutes to ground yourself before the noise begins. In those 10 minutes, remind yourself that this day is a gift. A chance. You're not owed it. And since you've been given it, the least you can do is show up fully. When you remind yourself, I am in control of how today goes, you're not ignoring life's challenges. You're not pretending things won't go sideways. What you're doing is acknowledging that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You're an active participant. You're the author. Bad traffic, a grumpy coworker, an unexpected bill, those things might show up, but you decide how you respond to them. That's the difference between people who feel powerful and those who feel stuck. Power doesn't come from the absence of problems. It comes from the presence of personal agency. And let's talk about the science here. Your brain is listening to you every second. The words you say, even the ones you whisper in your head, literally rewire your brain through a process called neuroplasticity. If you constantly say, today's gonna suck, your brain will look for evidence to support that. If you say, I've got this, your brain starts to build pathways that make you more resilient, more alert, more grounded. Think about it. You've had days where you woke up feeling strong. Maybe you had a great workout or you nailed a presentation. Remember that energy, that certainty? That didn't come from the day itself. It came from how you approached it, how you decided to show up. That's available to you every day, not just on the good days, especially on the hard ones. We have to stop outsourcing our emotional state to external events. Your mood is not your boss's responsibility. Your focus is not your partner's job to protect. Your attitude doesn't depend on whether your plans go smoothly or not. All of that is yours to control. And when you really, truly grasp that, it's like flipping a switch. You stop waiting. You stop blaming. You start leading. Look, the truth is, you will never control everything that happens today. But you can always control how you meet it. You can choose to meet it with grace, with grit, with humor, with hustle. You get to decide. And the more often you remind yourself of that, especially in the morning, the stronger that muscle becomes. Over time, you become the kind of person who doesn't just survive their days, you own them. So tomorrow morning, before your feet hit the floor, say it. I am in control of how today goes. Say it until you believe it. Say it until it becomes second nature. Say it until no amount of stress, traffic, rejection, or nonsense can shake it from your bones. Because once you step into that truth, there's no going back. You'll stop reacting. We all understand how powerful words can be when they come from someone else. A coach, a parent, a partner, they say the right thing at the right time and it lifts us. It changes us. But here's the catch. Most of us don't realize that the most influential voice in our lives isn't theirs, it's our own. The words we say to ourselves in our heads every single day shape how we feel, what we believe, and ultimately what we do. Self-talk is the software that runs your mindset. If that software is loaded with doubt, fear, criticism, or negativity, you're going to crash. You'll hesitate. You'll procrastinate. You'll self-sabotage. But when that software is filled with truth, encouragement, and clarity, your brain gets rewired to recognize opportunity instead of obstacles, to see the path instead of the wall, to find the solution instead of focusing on the problem. Now, here's what most people get wrong. They think they have to feel confident before they speak confidently to themselves. Nope, it's actually the opposite. You have to speak confidently, even when you don't feel it. Your words create your reality, not the other way around. It's about using your voice as a tool to push your brain in the direction you want to go. And the best part? You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need a special app. You don't need 30 days of journaling. You just need to open your mouth and speak. Every single morning, before the world tells you who to be or what to worry about, you need to be the one to program your mind. And that starts with your words. You're either feeding your future or you're feeding your fear. You're either hyping yourself up or tearing yourself down. And no one is more consistent or more convincing than you air it to yourself. Let's get really practical. Think about the last time you looked in the mirror and said something kind to yourself. Not just, I look okay, but something intentional, something powerful, something that reinforced the version of you that you're working to become. If you're like most people, it's been a while. And if that's true, don't beat yourself up, just change the pattern. Start with just one sentence. Say, I've got this. Or, I can handle anything today throws at me. Or, I'm proud of myself for showing up. That might sound simple, even silly, but it's not. Because those words, repeated consistently, begin to rewire how you think and feel about yourself. They shift your identity. They confidence, one thought at a time. Let me tell you something real. Confidence isn't built through compliments or applause. It's built through evidence, asterisk, and your self-talk is part of that evidence. When you talk to yourself like someone you love, your brain starts to believe you're someone worth loving. When you speak like a leader, your brain starts to act like a leader. It's not magic, it's psychology. This is why affirmations, when done right, are so powerful. But listen closely. It's not about repeating cheesy, disconnected phrases. It's about telling yourself things that are aligned with your goals and grounded in truth. If you say, I'm a millionaire, but you're broke and doing nothing to change that, your brain will reject it. But if you say, I'm committed to building wealth and I'm taking action today, now you've got something your mind can latch onto. That's where the shift begins. And remember, your brain believes what you repeat. If you constantly say, I'm such a failure, your brain will find proof. But if you start saying, I've learned from my past and I'm getting stronger every day, your brain will start scanning for evidence of growth. The words you choose act like a GPS. Whatever you program in, your thoughts and behaviors will start moving toward it. Don't underestimate the power of speaking life into your goals, even if you're still in the middle of the mess. Especially then, most people live their lives waiting for motivation to strike, like it's some lightning bolt from the sky that'll suddenly make them leap out of bed and take action. Here's the truth. Motivation is unreliable. It's fleeting. It comes and goes. And if you build your habits or your life waiting to feel motivated, you will stay stuck. What actually moves the needle? Taking action before you feel ready. Taking action when it's boring, when it's uncomfortable, when it's inconvenient. That's where the power is. It's a myth that successful people are more motivated than everyone else. What they are is more consistent. They don't negotiate with their excuses. They understand that you don't rise to the level of your motivation, you fall to the level of your systems and habits. So instead of asking, do I feel like it today? They ask, what do I need to do regardless of how I feel? And then they do it. That's where discipline beats motivation every single time. Think about it. Brushing your teeth is a habit. You do it every day, and you don't sit around debating whether you're in the mood for toothpaste. You just do it. Why? Because you've trained yourself that it's non-negotiable. The same principle applies to everything that matters, whether it's working out, writing, making sales calls, eating healthy, or showing up for your family. The people who transform their lives are the ones who treat these things as essentials, not options. Here's where it gets really powerful. Once you stop relying on motivation and start acting from a place of discipline, your confidence skyrockets. Why? Because every time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, you build trust. And trust is the foundation of self-esteem. You stop being someone who breaks promises to yourself. You start becoming someone who keeps them. And that identity shift is more powerful than any pep talk or motivational video. Let's be honest, there are going to be a lot of days when you won't feel like showing up. Your alarm will go off and you'll want to hit snooze. The gym will feel too far. That healthy meal will feel like too much effort. Your goals will feel too big, too far away. That's normal. But what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck is what they do in those moments. The high performers, the game changers, the people who build lives they're proud of, they do it anyway. They understand that feelings are not facts. Just because you don't feel like doing something doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. In fact, most of the things that create success, fulfillment, and confidence require you to do them, especially when you don't feel like it. That's where growth happens. That's where momentum is built. And here's the real kicker. Once you push through that initial resistance and take action, motivation often shows up after. It's the reward for showing up, not the requirement. You move your body, and then you feel energized. You sit down to write, and then the ideas start flowing. You show up consistently, and then you start seeing results. But if you sit around waiting to feel ready, you'll be stuck forever. We have to stop glorifying motivation and start normalizing discipline. Discipline isn't sexy, but it works. It's showing up on the days it would be easier not to. It's doing one more rep, one more call, one more draft, one more uncomfortable conversation. It's choosing your future self over your current comfort. And that choice, that's where everything changes. You might be thinking, but I struggle with discipline. Okay, start small. Build momentum. You don't need to go from 0 to 100 overnight. In fact, that's how people burn out. Just pick one thing, one small commitment you can keep daily. Maybe it's 5 minutes of movement. Maybe it's drinking water before coffee. Maybe it's writing down your goals. Keep that promise to yourself for a week. You know that voice in your head, the one that wakes up with you, walks into every room with you, and sometimes makes you question if you're good enough? That voice shapes your entire day. And guess what? You get to control it. The words you say to yourself every morning, they matter. They create your emotional tone, your energy, your focus, your mindset. So if you start your day telling yourself you're behind, you're overwhelmed, you're not doing enough, your brain will start searching for evidence to support that. You'll carry that weight with you into every task, every interaction, every decision. But if you start your day with intention, if you look in the mirror and speak words of belief, of strength, of resilience, your brain shifts into a completely different gear. You're not faking confidence, you're choosing it. And that choice has a ripple effect that touches every part of your life, because the words you speak become the lens through which you see the world. And the lens you use determines what you focus on, what you believe is possible, and what you ultimately act on. Let's be real, most of us are way too good at self-criticism. We can recite our flaws, our mistakes, and our insecurities like we've been rehearsing them for years. But how often do we speak to ourselves with kindness, with encouragement, with the same support we would give a friend, a child, someone we love? That's where the shift needs to happen. You can't beat yourself into becoming your best self. You can only grow into your potential when you start from a place of self-belief. And here's the truth. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build. Every morning is a chance to lay another brick. It doesn't require a motivational speech or a vision board. It requires you to make a decision to speak to yourself like someone worth believing in, even when you feel off. Especially when you feel off. Because that's when your words matter most. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is speaking your goals and truths out loud in the morning. Not just thinking them, saying them. Why? Because your brain believes what it hears from your own mouth more than anything else. You say, I am capable. Your brain goes, okay, let's find evidence of that. You say, today, I handle challenges with strength. Your brain starts scanning your day for ways to do exactly that. This isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about reminding yourself that you are powerful even when life is messy. It's about reclaiming your focus before the world starts pulling you in 100 directions. Because once you check your phone, open your email, start reacting to everything around you, you're no longer leading your mind, you're following distractions. But if you speak to yourself first, if you choose your mindset before the world chooses it, for you, everything changes. Let me ask you this. What are you saying to yourself every morning? Is it helpful? Is it empowering? Would you say it to your child? If the answer is no, then it's time to rewrite that script because you are listening. And your brain doesn't know the difference between a lie and a limiting belief you've repeated 1,000 times. So let's be intentional. Let's be bold. You wake up and say, I've got this, even if yesterday was hard. Even if today looks challenging, you remind yourself, I've faced worse and come out stronger, because you have. You say, I'm not behind, I'm building momentum. That reframing shifts you from shame to action. You tell yourself today is mine to create. And suddenly, instead of reacting, you're designing your experience. It's not about being unrealistic. It's about being unapologetically intentional with your energy. It's about giving yourself the emotional fuel you need to step into your life with purpose. Because no one else is going to do that for you. Your job isn't to wait for someone to give you permission to feel good. It's to give it to why. You've got to remind yourself that you are in control. Every single morning, before your feet even hit the ground, you have a choice, a powerful one. You either let the day run you, or you take charge and run the day. That mindset begins with one simple, deliberate action, deciding who you are and how you're going to show up today. And here's the thing, it's not about perfection, it's about direction. The direction you point yourself in the moment you wake up, that's what sets the tone. So many people wake up and immediately hand their day away. They check social media, scroll through messages, let the news hijack their energy. It's like giving the remote control of your brain to someone else. You wouldn't hand over your car keys to a stranger. Why would you hand over your focus, your emotions, your mindset? You've got to own your morning, because it sets the tempo for everything that follows. And you don't have to overhaul your entire life to do this. It starts with one commitment: to be intentional with the first thing you say to yourself. That's it. Because your brain is listening. Your subconscious is wide open when you first wake up. It's ready to be programmed. So feed it truth. Feed it strength. Feed it clarity. You say, I am focused today. Suddenly, you're filtering out distractions. You say, I am not available for self-doubt. Now you're recognizing it when it shows up and choosing to pivot. You say, today I lead with courage. And just like that, you're standing taller, speaking up more, trusting yourself a little bit more than you did yesterday. It's easy to underestimate how powerful this is. It sounds so simple, maybe even too simple. But that's the trick. It's the small things that create the biggest shifts. You don't need a 3-hour morning routine or a meditation retreat. You just need a minute of truth. A minute where you speak the identity you're choosing to live into, and you keep choosing it every single day. Now, let's talk about the days when it's hard, because there will be days you wake up tired, days you feel behind, days you don't feel like you've got what it takes. And those are the days when this practice matters most. Because when motivation is nowhere to be found, consistency steps in. When your feelings are all over the place, your words anchor you. When your confidence is shaky, your morning mindset becomes your power tool. You don't wait until you feel amazing to speak like someone who's powerful. You speak it first. You lead with it. Because what you repeat, you start to believe, and what you believe, you start to embody. And what you embody, you start to attract. That's how this works. You're reprogramming your mind from the inside out. And let me tell you something else. No one is coming to do this for you. You are the one who sets the tone for your life. You're the one who decides how you talk to yourself. You're the one who creates the identity you show up with. So don't wait for someone else to call you strong. Call yourself strong. Don't wait for someone else to tell you you're enough. Remind yourself that you are, because here's the truth. The world responds to how you see yourself. And if you walk into your day like someone who doubts everything, who carries yesterday's failure into today's opportunity, who shrinks to fit into someone else's expectations, then you're playing small before the day even begins. But if you walk in with certainty, with clarity, with belief even, if it's just 1% stronger than yesterday, that momentum compounds, that energy becomes contagious, that identity becomes real, you become the person who gets things done, who keeps their promises, who doesn't crumble at the first sign of discomfort. Not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. You remind yourself of who you are every morning, and that repetition builds results.